Media Fact Checker. Today's Australian news. 6 stories. These are the stories in this video. Timestamps are shown if you would like to skip ahead. Story 1 of 6. Former Liberal staffer Bruce Lehrmann faces Queensland rape trial in November 2024. Former Liberal staffer Bruce Lehrmann faces Queensland rape trial in November 2024. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Bruce Lehrmann, 30, is charged with 2 counts of rape alleged to have occurred in Toowoomba in October 2021. The trial is scheduled to begin on November 2, 2024, in the Toowoomba District Court. Judge Deborah Richards presided over the court mention setting the trial date. Lehrmann has not yet formally entered a plea but has indicated he will plead not guilty. Defense lawyer Zali Burrows is representing Lehrmann and has not yet decided between a judge-alone trial or jury trial. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC mentions Zali Burrows appeared via phone in today's mention, while Newscomau does not specify how she appeared. No contradiction found regarding the trial date, judge, or plea status between sources. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Story 2 of 6. Chelsea FC's humiliating Champions League exit against PSG in 2024 second leg match. Chelsea FC's humiliating Champions League exit against PSG in 2024 second leg match. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Chelsea lost to Paris Saint-Germain 3-0 in the Champions League second leg at the Parc des Princes, resulting in an 8-2 aggregate defeat. Chelsea conceded 3 goals in the first 15 minutes of the second leg, including a goal from a free kick by PSG goalkeeper Matvei Safonov and a mistake by Mamadou Sarr. Liam Rosenior was the Chelsea head coach during the match and faced criticism for his team's performance and pre-match huddling around the referee. Reece James was injured against Newcastle before the match, leading to Mamadou Sarr playing at right back for the first time in his professional career. Chelsea's aggregate score against PSG was 2-5 in the first leg and 0-3 in the second leg, totaling 8-2. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 states Chelsea played pretty well for part of the first leg, while Article 2 does not mention this detail. Article 1 mentions Chelsea's £1.5 billion spending to reach this point, but Article 2 does not reference this specific financial detail. Article 1 describes Chelsea's pre-match huddling as embarrassing and like a stroppy child kissing his great-grandmother, while Article 2 describes it as an act of resistance. This story was covered by The Guardian. Story 3 of 6. Fatal shooting in Sydney's Lidcombe with gang-linked allegations and arrests. Fatal shooting in Sydney's Lidcombe with gang-linked allegations and arrests. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. A 38-year-old man died from gunshot wounds inside a unit on Shale St, Lidcombe, at Tilda Forum on Monday. A second man at the scene suffered non-life-threatening injuries during the assault. The victim was treated at the scene before being taken to Westmead Hospital, where he died shortly after. Police established a crime scene and are investigating ongoing. Public appeals urge anyone with information to contact Crime Stoppers. But not all outlets told the same story. Newscomau does not mention gang involvement, while SMH explicitly states strong links to organised crime. SMH reports an arrest in Ryde around noon, but Newscomau does not mention an arrest at all. SMH describes suspects as heavy-set males in black clothing, a detail absent in Newscomau. This story was covered by news.com.au and Sydney Morning Herald. Story 4 of 6. Sri Lanka's 4-day workweek to conserve fuel amid Middle East conflict. Sri Lanka's 4-day workweek to conserve fuel amid Middle East conflict. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Sri Lanka introduced a 4-day workweek starting Wednesday, March 2024, for state institutions, schools, and universities, with Wednesday as a mandatory holiday. Sri Lanka's fuel rationing limits motorists to 15 litres of petrol or diesel per week, while public transport gets up to 200 litres. Iran has blocked the Strait of Hormuz since February 28, 2024, in retaliation for US-Israeli airstrikes, cutting 20% of global oil exports. Sri Lanka's petrol and diesel reserves are estimated to last nearly 6 weeks, but officials warn disruptions could severely impact the country. President Anura Kumara Dissanayake chaired an emergency meeting and stated we must prepare for the worst, but hope for the best. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC and Newscomall state Sri Lanka's fuel reserves will last nearly 6 weeks, but The Guardian does not specify a duration. Newscomall claims Iran's blockade began after US-Israeli strikes on February 28, while ABC and Guardian state it began in the third week of fighting, late February. ABC and Guardian mentioned Sri Lanka's Iran-built refinery sourcing crude from the Middle East, but Newscomall does not reference this detail. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Story 5 of 6. One Nation overtakes coalition in primary vote, Labour loses support amid cost of living crisis. One Nation overtakes coalition in primary vote, Labour loses support amid cost of living crisis. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. One Nation's primary vote rose to 24% in a March 9 to 14 Resolve poll, surpassing the coalition's 22% for the first time. The coalition's primary vote fell by 1 percentage point to 22%, a record low, since March 2025, 37%. Labour's primary vote dropped by 3 percentage points to 29%, down from 34.6% at the May 2025 election. Angus Taylor recorded a net plus 9 percentage points in performance approval, compared to Susan Lay's -23 and Albanese's -17. The Farrer by-election is scheduled for May 9, with One Nation, the coalition, and independent Michelle Milthorpe competing. But not all outlets told the same story. No contradictions found between the two sources. This story was covered by Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Story 6 of 6. 3 New South Wales fishermen die in SA coastal waters after failing to return from Beachport. 3 New South Wales fishermen die in SA coastal waters after failing to return from Beachport. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. 3 fishermen from New South Wales died in waters off Beachport, South Australia's Limestone Coast. The incident occurred on Sunday at approximately 2:30 p.m. when the men did not return to shore. The search involved SA Police water operations, Paul Air, State Emergency Service, local boat ties, and aerial assets including drones. The fishermen were aged 64, 67, and 74. Their bodies were recovered and found dead. This story was covered by ABC News. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis.